Hello everyone, it's Specimen here, and today, some of the biggest cards in Gwent history have been revealed. I've got some huge gold cards, one from every single faction. We'll save the bronzes for a rainy day. Let's talk deck ideas, let's talk card text. If you guys in the comments could let me know how on earth I pronounce these cards, that would save me a lot of aggro, I'm not going to lie. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. We're just 1 week away now from the expansion, and the deck ideas are flowing. First up, the 12 provision monsters card, the highest provisions we have in monsters. What has 1,000,000 legs and can eat a city whole? That is V. A insectoid from the monsters faction, 8 power, 12 provisions. It's a death wish unit, so whenever this unit enters the graveyard, it has this ability, and that is shuffle V back to your deck, then increase its base power by 3. Okay, so that means you play it, you consume it, it goes back to your deck, and now it's 11. You consume it again, it's 14. You get the picture. Important to bear in mind, you're not going to be able to Ozzel this card then, because it never stays in your graveyard. That's something to bear in mind. How are you going to use this card? Well, you're going to play cards like a Neuromancy. You're going to play cards such as Matter. You're going to play cards such as Alzur's Double Cross and the Crone that plays a Death Wish unit. All these cards that summon from deck, and you're going to use maybe Overwhelming Hunger, Slizzards, to replay this multiple times. It's going to be a Heatwave Magnet, but bear in mind you could also use Caranthia on this card, and then like Tatterwing or Becca's Twisted Mirror. All sorts of things that you can do with this card that just kind of defy belief. The way you play this card though is actually Ilharikworks, the Unicorn, whatever it's called, that summons your highest provision card from your deck, because you played that card round 1, you mill your opponent's best card, and then you can just consume this straight away and it's back in your deck. Then you Neuromancer, you Matter. Mental card. Love it so much. Huge fan. Cannot wait to play with it. Gassed. Doesn't even begin to say how excited I am. Okay, up next we have Viper. Vicious cunning. Known to wait patiently for hours before striking their prey. Once it uncoils to strike, there is no escape. Death is inevitable, and that is a quote from Ivor Evil Eye, who is this geezer over here. This is a 7 power, 2 armored, 9 provisions Nilfgaardian card, and this one's very complicated. I'm going to explain how it works. I am a Nilfgaard player, as you can see, up against a monsters player, okay, and I play Viper in round 1, and it is either removed, not banished, but removed and sent to the graveyard, or it sticks on the board. At the end of the round, so as round 2 begins, this card leaves my graveyard and goes to my opponent's, the monsters player. So the monster player now has a Viper in their graveyard. And in round 2, this is now going to be banishing the lowest cost card from the monsters player's graveyard. However, if Viper is the only card in the graveyard, it is given Doomed, and it is summoned to the Nilfgaardian player's row, a random row. So it's given Doomed, so you could Purify and it would do it again, but once it's Doomed, it's not going to go back to the graveyard after that. So essentially, you play it in round 1 for 7 points, it goes to your opponent's graveyard in round 2, and it banishes their lowest provision cards. Obviously, you could try and catch an Neuromancy, probably not going to happen, but if you can banish everything in their graveyard, then obviously you could get a Neuromancy, etc., and then this card is going to join you back on your side of the board. Wow. How interesting. Skellige is going to hate this card. Love it. Let's move on. There's so much to talk about, guys. Wow. Imagine moving on that quickly from such a cool card. This card is my favourite. All right. Erland of Larvik. Erland founded the School of the Griffin and hoped his emphasis on knightly values would help elevate the reputation of witches among the common folk. Alas, his efforts would go in vain. Wow, this card, nuts. Deploy, boost all units in your deck by 1. Imagine this card going second, round 1. It boosts every single card in your deck. Bear in mind, you're playing a Neuromancy, you're playing Assault, so that's already value. But obviously, all that carryover as well is crazy. Adrenaline 3 also gain immunity. So if you play this card, as you've got 4 cards in your hand, you play this card, so you've got 3 left, it becomes immune. Okay. Why is that good? Well, because it has an order ability that can remove boosts from all the units in your deck and boost this unit by the same amount. So you could play this card. Let's say round 1's going on. I've got 4 cards left, and I play this card, Erland. All the units in my deck get boosted. He gets immune, and then the next turn I can use this order and just take all those boosts from cards in my deck and just boost him by those. Wow. But I think, moreover, he's going to be used for carryover. You just hope to draw him early. But this fact he's got this order still means that actually he's not even that bad in round 3. You look at a card like Nilfgaard, and Nilfgaard is, you know, struggles because if you don't find him in round 1, he's not very good. Outside of decks such as Precision Strike, where you can play Sentinels and you still get the 10 points of value off him. This card has so many synergies with Cohen. It's crazy as well. Cannot wait for this. Like, honestly, I can see an Erland deck with Nilfgaard, with Vesemir, with this Griffin Witcher Mentor, which is boosting units in your hand potentially, in a pincer maneuver deck. Really excited to see what else we get in the Northern Realms. But wow, this card is just delicious. And all the Northern Realms cards we've got so far are witches, and this card works with witches. So I'm very, 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 very excited as a loyal Temerian. Okay, up next, I've not looked at this card before, but we're just going to skip to the big cards today. We have Gesraz of Ladia, who is a Witcher. Take a contract from Ainsaid over Arjarn any day, as you're far less likely to receive a knife between the ribs in place of coin. And that is a quote from Gesraz himself. In the melee row, at the end of your turn, move self to the range row and boost a random allied unit on this row by 1. He's in the melee row, he moves to the range row and boosts a unit by 1. That's pretty bad. In the range row, at the end of your turn, move self to the melee row and damage a random enemy unit on the opposite row by 1. That's also, honestly, not very good. But this is where this card gets crazy. Adrenaline 3. Instead of a random unit, affect all units in a row. So you're not just boosting one unit, you're going to boost as many units as you have in that row. 8, 9. Melee row, then he's going to be damaging all your opponent's units in a row. So, wow, this is pretty crazy. And obviously, this card, waiting to see what sort of synergies we can have with it, with movement. There's a few other bronze cards that have been revealed. Please do check them out at your leisure. I think this card is more difficult to assess. Pretty sure it's crazy, but a lot of it's going to depend on how viable movement Scoia'tael is. But what they're doing with these expansions is they're really pushing specific archetypes. So, yeah, I've got a lot of hope that this card is actually just going to be very, very, very solid indeed. And Pumpkin has still not revealed the card, so I think there's going to be more movement Scoia'tael support. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all the NR cards are witches. We've got this sort of like anti-mill kind of vibe going on. This card's very, very interesting. But yeah, let's just move on. Skellige. I believe I've actually talked about this card already on the channel, so we'll just brush past it. Argenhind, he is a 7 power 10 provision. Deploy, gain 1 armor for every damaged unit. So however many damaged units are, he's going to gain that armor. Adrenaline 4. When your opponent plays a unit, damage that unit by Argon's power and damage Argon by that unit's power. So he's 7 power, unless you boost him, like with a Mardrome, for example. You know, you could do it with your leader. He's going to deal 7 damage to your opponent. Your opponent's going to deal 7 damage to your card too. But obviously, you can get armor on this geezer. And if, of course, you're removing, you know, 7 power from a card every time they play it, and this card's still sticking, pretty crazy. This card's very scary because of the man Shukras. I call him Shukras apparently. So you've got to get through Defender, Shukras, just to get to this guy. So this card is kind of scary because if you've got Shukras, Shukras stops this card being damaged. So that is very, 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 very scary. And it's why he's drawing quite a few comparisons to Imarith Sabbath. Okay, and we also have Fallen Railer. Now, this is not the big card from Syndicate. Let's look at that one first. Salamander. This was just revealed like an hour ago now because I've taken so many takes on this video. It's a 1 power, 9 provisions card from the Syndicate faction. Profit 1. Deploy poison a unit, so it's a Fangs for 1 point. That's not very good. But wait, tribute 9. So you spend 9 coins, poison all units on the battlefield instead. Yep, poison all units on the battlefield instead. Also, increase the profit by 1 for every allied Salamander unit. So if you've got 9 Salamander units on the board already, this card gets 9 profit and can just spend that instantly to with the tribute to poison everything. And of course, there's tribute leaders. It's also going to have some synergy with Fallen Railer because this card is gaining Veil and Adrenaline 3. Whenever you pay a tribute, boost self by that tribute's cost. So Fallen Raider would boost by 9 off that, and she's veiled, so she wouldn't get poisoned. And of course, Syndicate has loads of these Salamander cards already that are all to do with self-poison. We've got Roland, we've got Gerland, Balnheim, we've got the Failed Experiment, we've got the Salamander Abomination, we've also got the Salamander Lackey too. And all these cards are usually to do with self-poison, most of them anyway. And yeah, very, very excited now for this self-poison. It seemed like it was lacking some support, but suddenly with this card, all sorts you can do with this. Now, I know what you're thinking. Fuchsia Briefs is thinking, oh my goodness, Cyana on this card. Sorry to disappoint, mate. It's not going to work because the deployability is just poison a unit. So Cyana with this card is the same as using Cyana on a Fangs of the Empire. Because the tribute is what you really want, right? But decoy with this card. Let's say you thin your whole deck so you have no units left. Right, bear with me. You play decoy to shuffle this card back, alright? You've got loads of Salamander units on the board already. And then this card is going to come instantly back onto the field because it's the only unit in your deck. You had no units in your deck and now you've just decoyed. It's gone back. Decoy is playing a random unit from your deck. So Salamander comes down again. You get the Profit 9 again. You get the Tribute 9 again. You poison everything again. You've got Fallen Railer, which has got her Veil. You've got other stuff that purifies, like this Salamander Abomination, which can purify. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, poisoning yourself twice is very sketchy, but, like, there's stuff you can do with it, right? This card is just crazy. I absolutely love this kind of ability. I made a tweet where I said, compare this card to the dreaded Masquerade Ball. Which one is more interesting? Which one is more fun to build a deck around? Which one is better to watch? Which one is better to play? And it's always this. I'm a big hater of scenarios. I do not enjoy them at all. And these are the kinds of gold cards that I think the game desperately needs. And I cannot be grateful enough to CDPR for coming up with some such just absolutely nuts card abilities. Like, my goodness, it is so cool. And I just want to say thank you to them for clearly a lot of very, very hard work that has gone into these cards. And I love that they're just pushing archetypes for each faction. Yeah, so excited for this expansion, guys. I'll leave it at that. If you guys want me to reveal any of the other cards that I've missed, let me know. Pretty sure when we've had all the reveals, I'm going to do a tier list. So I'll put every single card into different tiers. So look out for that. Obviously, the main tier, the top tier, is going to be this Bear Witcher Adept because it's the one I revealed. Can't wait to get this card on the wall. Guys, let me know how I pronounce some of these names so I don't get bullied by my Twitch chat. What cards are you excited for? Is there anything I've missed with these sorts of synergies? Erland, I've just got so many ideas for. This V is just crazy with Ilharacrax in particular, I think. Again, let me know how I pronounce that one. This card is very scary. This Salamander is just, my goodness, what a card. I love it. Yeah, you've got Geralt Quen as well, which you can use with quite a lot of these Witcher-based cards. So excited for some Pincer Maneuver, Northern Realms, Hand Buff, All God, Vesemir Mentor, Shenanigans, whatever it turns out to be. I'm so excited, guys. I'm not going to lie. Just want to say big thank you to all the support on the YouTube videos. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to have some announcements on the future of the channel soon, because I've got some potentially exciting news where I'm going to be producing a lot of content for the next few months, because yeah, we'll come on to it. It's not confirmed yet, but yeah. Much love, guys. You guys take care. Thank you so much for the support. Let me know what you're looking forward to. This took me 14 takes, by the way. I'm so tired, so sorry if you can tell from my voice I've been talking for an hour. I really have. I'm just an absolute mess. But yeah, we got there. We managed it. I think I forgot to be reading the card text like I started off with. Never mind. Adios!